shit.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard building following. I don't care what you're doing.
Yep. Yeah, that's the missing piece. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to another episode of the Rich by Monday podcast. I'm your host, Jared Wilkins, aka the Google grad.
And I'm Dorance Creighton. Welcome back.
Welcome back. And this is episode 16.
And we're probably actually on time this time. So
I mean, we are, but we aren't. It'll be delivered on time, but we're definitely not
we're
on
still
time.
getting back in the groove,
So we're getting
Still
closer
back in
to
the
the
groove.
day and the time that we're actually supposed to be recording.
Right.
No,
We're
we're
getting
not
back in
actually
the groove.
recording on the day of. Now we're just recording day before.
Right.
So slowly making our way back.
But soon our Patreon subscribers will get it earlier. So we'll for sure have to do it on time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get our shit together.
And probably just release it maybe Saturday or something.
Well, we might actually have to push. We might have to push back our recording a day and have it, to have it ready for like a Saturday or a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
you know how people kind of get used to like listening to it on Monday. And I'm thinking if the Patreon subscribers are going to have a different flow because they get it earlier, like what day would they listen to it? Would a Friday drop be cool?
It depends on when we record it. I mean, I don't think it'll matter. I mean, because when you really look at like the channel we were just talking about now, they were celebrating 4,000 Patreon members, I think.
Right.
But their YouTube channel is like, like 50,000. So it's a small portion of like your actual community.
Right.
So I don't think it'll be that. I don't think that's a big deal. Yeah.
A huge flow difference.
Yeah. Like we started when we launch our Patreon, it's gonna be like our cousins.
You gotta start somewhere. It's gonna be me signed up.
Yeah.
I like this. I'll sign up for this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of that because until we expand. I'm trying to figure out the whole marketing aspect. Like I'm getting a little better at it, just in terms of understanding, but it takes a lot. And not just on the marketing effort, but just in terms of like consistency.
Yeah.
Like on our part, like we have to really be like, we got to post all the time.
Yeah, it's like we a long way from just pressing record. Now it's like a thing that has to be grown and baby. We just need more content out.
Man, I was listening to I was watching the video, and this woman was like talking about how she plans her content.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I could never do that.
What was her flow like?
She was 2 weeks out.
Oh.
So she would spend like, she would block out hours, and she would like batch her captions for all of her posts, create all her posts, and then have a calendar to post them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how it should be. It's like that content was built 2 weeks ago. I see another creator. He does the same thing. Like if you want to go on vacation or something, he's still like making content like on vacation. It's like it's part of his life. So it's like his whole family go on vacation, and he still has to be in a room like, hey, reacting to this or showing the lifestyle. That's like becomes part of it too. Like, hey, we're in doing such and such. We're in Cabo.
I think it's just because we grew up in a time where you could turn the internet off.
Mm-hmm.
And so just knowing that is part of like
Yeah.
how you use it versus like the kids today. I won't say kids, but just people today, they're more accustomed to just they live on the internet and then they go to sleep.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Wake
I
up and
wake up,
log back
I'm
in.
on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for us, it's like knowing that like I spend more time. Like Jada was just outside playing
Mm-hmm.
with bubbles and stuff, and I didn't take
Mm-hmm.
one picture.
Right. Right.
And but for some people, that's like a big deal. Like
Yeah.
they,
That'll be content.
yeah,
Your
and
time with your kids would be an opportunity for content.
I suck at that. I suck at being in the moment and being like, let me take a picture. Instead, I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking like, yo, I'm in the moment. I'm not even
Yeah.
thinking about
It's hard to
when.
do. I mean, from a photographer's standpoint, when I was taking pictures back in the day of different events, you're
Mhm.
trying to capture the moment, so it's hard to be in the moment at the same time. It's like it's impossible to do when you're trying to
Yeah,
capture a moment in time and be a part of it. You're either or, or it switch back and forth, and it only switch back and forth when you put your camera down.
but see, the thing is though, it's funny you say that because people will go on live. Like people will start a live and then put their phone down.
Mm-hmm. They just be
Like
walking around.
they'll just start a live and like put it down, and all you see is the ceiling.
Why?
I
What
don't
is that?
know.
I think that's just bad photography etiquette.
And then they come back. They'll come back in a minute and they'll say something, be like, "Oh yeah, blah 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 blah," and then put it down for a minute, go get something to drink. Like it's part of their life. The internet is weaved into like the fabric of their life.
Right, right. And then for the people who are
I've
just
never
sitting
just
there
gone
looking at it,
live.
just like looking
It's the
at
same
someone
thing.
living their life.
I guess it's because I don't have to like get on my bike and go to your house or
Mm-hmm.
drive to your house. It's like you on live or let's just get on live and see who pops up.
Yeah, I can see it that way. Almost like a internet function.
Yeah.
That's a terrible way to party, to function with people you
I
know.
mean,
It's not real
well, with
life
people you
is
don't
like is way
know,
better.
I guess it's a maybe people today who are accustomed to doing that are better at networking
Mm-hmm.
because they're so open about everything they're doing.
Mm,
Maybe it's easier for them to on the internet though. I'm not talking about in real life. On the internet, maybe it's easier for them to network because they're always available.
maybe it's just like I don't know. This internet stuff is kind of like your I don't know, like a calling card or something, or like your portfolio. Like if you're like a model or something, but
Hmm.
it's for everyone now. Like you used to be a model and you kind of putting your portfolio together of pictures and you post them, or you have like an actual binder or folder. Um, but now like Instagram is that, and it's for everyone now. So if you're in business, it's like you have to show yourself doing businessy things, or next to real estate, next to a car, or you at lunch, or
But
you
how
spending
though?
money. Like
Like you just said, you were
you
drawing
have
up an
to.
offer. So were you on your phone like this when you was drawing the offer? Were you like,
Yeah, I
like
know it's ridiculous. No, I wasn't, and I didn't even think about doing that. But then I think, dang, this I should have. Like, no one knows I did this now,
why do they
which people
see?
probably should know, to be like, because people have to be reminded that you're in the business of whatever you're doing. So I'm in the business of selling real estate right now, for showing property. I was showing property earlier today, and I didn't get no content of it. I didn't take any pictures, no video, and I was doing pretty well a few weeks, like maybe like a month ago, of trying to really focus on keep doing it, and it does work. I think people have to just be reminded, like, oh yeah, you're doing that. I can reach out for that. I can reach out to that person for that service.
Hmm.
Or if you don't have a business, it's like, oh, I'm gonna reach out to that person to invite them to my party, or invite them to this networking event that they might enjoy. um So it's more like just being top of mind, I think. The other
Yeah, I
old school
mean,
way was actually calling people like, hey, how you doing? How's the family? How's the kids? What you got going? I'm doing this. And then, people can be top of mind to invite you or refer you or use your service or whatever.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's one of those things where like I know it's beneficial to work at it. It's just difficult when you're not accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Well, I would say when it's not natural. Like it's just not, you know, especially in our line of work. It's like you're so accustomed to, um, like you said, calling people, meeting people face
Mm-hmm.
to face, calling
Yeah.
people. Um, it's just kind of different,
Mm-hmm.
and there's good, there's good and bad things about it, but there's definitely, you know, there's definitely times where things happen and I'm like, I hate the internet.
Right.
And one of them was this actually just happened with
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter. They have a new feature similar to Clubhouse, and
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant decides to go on there and start talking to random fans and random people.
Mm-hmm.
And so a bunch of people come in and they're trying to talk to him about, they're bringing up, you know, things that the media has said, different narratives.
Right.
And Kevin is like, I just want to talk about basketball, right? Like, y'all
Right.
talking about narratives. These are things that are made up. This is
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
you know, I want to talk about basketball. And so they start talking about, uh, just different basketball situations. But it was so interesting to hear people who do not, like, they probably never played ball before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Definitely not on that level.
Yeah, they're not pro basketball players. There's only so many
Yeah.
people who should even be having that conversation.
Well, I feel like this is the bad side of the internet, because I feel like when we were younger, say Michael Jordan popped up somewhere and you had the opportunity to just have a conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I spend that time arguing with him?
Right. Right. Yeah, it's like this is a one in a lifetime chance to talk to this person or be in this person's presence, and I'm gonna argue with them about stats or about who's what or what's the best thing for basketball. Like, what do you talk? I actually do this.
Yeah, like
I'm actually a professional NBA player, and this is an opinion from a stranger who just walked up to me
ah. It's
asking for a
funny.
picture and
It's
then give
funny
me
you
your
said
opinion.
something. You said something very interesting about that. I like the word you used. You said once in a lifetime
Mm-hmm.
to have this person in your be in that person's presence. The internet freezes that moment every day,
Mm-hmm.
because you can go to a person's page and see what they're doing every day and be in their presence, so to
Right.
speak, right?
Right.
So to them, they may not see it as this is the only time I'll talk to him. It's Kevin Durant. I see
Mm-hmm.
him every day.
When he posts something, I'll just comment.
I don't understand it either. It's like the dude has like 50 million followers, and then and then you want to comment on his tweet like, yo, you shouldn't have missed that shot. Like he's gonna see that. Like I don't understand a lot. I don't understand none of that. Like being like the 3,000 comment, like,
Yeah.
you'll call me, I can help you with your jump shot. Like I don't understand none of that, right? Um, but
Well,
it was just funny. Hmm.
people are making a you know they're creating a following on just commenting. I mean, I've seen people who just comment on people who have a lot of followers, timeline or whatever, and they're always like a comment, and they're always trying to make a comment, and it kind of just it pushes traffic to their page or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that's
So I
that's
don't even think they
engagement.
even do it to actually
Yeah,
really talk to the person. It's like, I don't care what you say. I want other people to say what to hear or read what I said, so we can bring attention to me,
that's
and that's
strange.
weird.
It's weird because we're thinking about it in the frame of like everyday life.
Of real life, yeah,
Yeah, but on the internet, it's not like that's
yeah,
what that's engagement. Like there's services that
yeah,
you can pay for that help you do that to build your
mm-hmm.
following. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, um, it is strange. I wish you could have heard. I'm gonna send you the video because there was some
mm.
stuff in there, and they're arguing with him about defensive schemes and um, who gets double teamed. You know, were you the best player on your team? Like, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
And like
And
KD in
these
the
are people who
finals,
aren't.
you got double teamed. He's like, bro, I didn't even play in the finals. I was hurt.
So now you're spending your time fact checking idiots on the internet. Have you seen that one guy? He was an NBA basketball player, um, and he wasn't technically quote unquote good compared to the people in the NBA. But I think he was like eighth string or whatever. And people kept calling him out, talking about he was sorry, he was whack at basketball. And what he did was he did an open calling at the gym. Anybody who want to play one on one, you can come and play. And he crushed them all. He killed them all.
Was that Scalabrini? Is a white
Yeah,
dude? Yeah,
Scalabrini. Yeah,
Scalabrini.
Scalabrini. He just killed him.
Oh man,
He killed them all. I think it was like a full series, and I think it. I don't know if it was a game of 21 or what, but the series was like 56 to 3 or something like that. But he was basically like, no, I'm like, I may not be as good. I may not be the best player or as good in the NBA, but like I may suck for an NBA player, but I'm way better than you.
yeah,
Like you suck.
100%. Yeah,
Like it's no way
100%.
you're gonna beat me. It's like different. But yeah, I don't even get in those arguments. That's a stupid argument to even argue with a pro. And that's a pro
Not about,
doing anything, a professional at anything. It's like I wouldn't argue with that person.
but no, nobody's a pro now. Like everybody's a pro. Everybody is everybody is an expert at your job because of the internet.
Yeah.
So no matter what you do, there's a million other people who are an expert at your job
Right.
because they've seen something online or they read something or they just had enough information delivered to them online in some form. Now
Yeah.
they're an expert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially when you have people who will sell you info. I know we talk about this all the time, but people who sell you information to bypass licenses. There's a reason why you need the license.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like imagine if Jeff Bezos sold an astronaut course for like for for $1 million.
Right.
Right. Everybody be like, oh man, I eat that up. I don't need to go to astronaut school. Let me just listen to Jeff Bezos. Okay, well, what do you think would be in the course? Build Amazon.
Yep.
Are you gonna build Amazon? No.
Right. There's so many things in between the course and the actual real life component of doing whatever you're doing.
Because that's the main thing in the comments that you see, like on videos and stuff like that. They'll be like, oh, all the guys with licenses and stuff are broke. Like they don't have the cars, blah blah blah. You mad because you got degrees and not the money? And no, like degrees keep you out of jail. Degrees and licenses and all that, it keeps you out of jail because you know that you have something to lose. You're not gonna go out here and speak crazy. But aside from that, that's why I hate the internet. I like the internet, but I hate the internet.
Is the bar for all life is who has the most money?
For some people, yes.
Like who has the most money or the most resources or look like they have the resources or the money?
For a lot of people, yes. But as we talked about it last week, I think that's more so the mindset where people lack resources. You know what I'm saying? Like their ambitions are greater than their resource pool. So they feel like if they see the next person come from there, and they could have been selling body parts, but it don't matter because like, oh, he got out, he made it. Which is wild. Selling, but I don't know where that came from. Selling body parts,
like a little serial killerish,
man. But I think that's what it is. I think when you come from extreme circumstances, you kind of bypass like morals and ethics and all those things because of what you have to go through every day, right? But
that
then
would make sense if the money is the goal. Then it's like
that's what I'm saying.
I
It
went
has
through
to
all
be.
that, I got the money, so it has to be right.
It has to be until you get it. Because when you look at basketball players and football players, like, you know, times have definitely changed now because of everything that goes into these guys getting to the pro level, all the travel ball and all that all the camps, like those things are expensive.
Right.
So they need people to pay for them. So now more middle income, middle class families are spending money and time on their kids in that way. Versus but if you're someone who doesn't have anything and you're trying to, go that route, like it's going to take money from somewhere. But then once they get the money and they realize how it changes not only them but everyone around them, that's when they realize it's not about that.
Right.
You know what I'm
I can see
saying?
that.
That's when they realize, like, okay, I put it on the pedestal up here, and then I got here, and it's not what I thought it was. In fact, it's actually worse because now all these other people feel like they came up with me.
Yeah. I was there with you the whole time.
Yeah, because they get rich overnight. They literally get rich overnight on TV. Somebody calls their name, and everybody just assumes they're rich for the rest of their life. They have unlimited money.
Yeah. It's the words like, you have more money than me. So
like I remember, I can't remember who it was, but I think they were talking about the football draft, the NFL draft. And he's like, if you watch it, you'll notice that every time a person gets called, you always see the family there, and they're excited and jumping and hugging them, saying, "We made it."
Right.
They're not saying congratulations, you did it. They're saying we made it.
Right.
And Shaq kind of hinted. He said something kind of similar to that too when he got his first a little bit of money from NBA or from the NBA. He went and bought clothes and jewelry and stuff, and then he went and bought a black Mercedes.
Right.
And he said he pulled up to go see his dad, and his dad was like, "Well, where mine's at?"
Right.
So then he went and bought his dad one, and then he said his accountant called him and was like, "Yo, you spent $1 million
right
in like a couple days."
Like, what are you doing?
So I think when you come from those extreme circumstances, the money can oftentimes be, or at least when because especially for us culturally, many people live like they come from those extreme circumstances.
If that makes sense. As in, it's like a badge of honor.
We had some technical difficulties. Somehow everything just shut off, but maybe it was Jeff Bezos. He heard us talking.
Okay, they got jokes, huh?
Yeah, but like I was saying though, it's when you exist at that level, when you come from those extremes, and then the people who believe they come from those extremes because it's cool to act like that. It's cool to act and think and present yourself in that way,
right?
As if you come from those extremes. Then I think that's where the worshiping of the dollar and like rich people comes from. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm all like, the dollar is always paramount, but there's definitely a lot of things in the way of that.
Right.
In terms of morals, ethics, and everything else. Some people look at, like, there was an interesting conversation earlier on Facebook that I seen I think it was Terrence, actually. Terrence posted something about Kim Kardashian, like a meme about her being a billionaire. And and it was very polarizing, because some people are like, well, she has no talent. What did she do? It's not, she didn't do anything. She had the money already.
Right.
So it was interesting to see like both sides, where it's like, some people are like, I would never worship her because she has no morals.
What?
I would. That's what people were saying. I would never celebrate this person because they have no morals. Like, they have no morals. They have no, you know, nothing. They're the lowest of low. They just happen to be rich, basically. And then there's others who are like, you know, it doesn't matter what she did, she's still who she is today.
Right.
So
The opinions are great. uh I think everyone would like take an opportunity to stand on whatever laurel they can. So if it's like, I may not have more money than you, but I have morals. My moral character is high.
mhm.
You know, um, and really, who's to say? Who's to say one is better than the other in the grand scheme of
You can't,
everything?
yeah, you can't. It's whatever you're okay with,
Yeah.
you know. Um, I think what happens is when you see, like we talked about Dame last week, um, and I think that's something that he deals with
Mm-hmm.
because of how he. I honestly believe that's the only reason why he's upset
Mm-hmm.
is because he feels like everything he's trying to do now or he's involved in now goes completely against what he was back then, or at least what he marketed.
Mm.
You know, because he's mentioned it many times where he's had to explain to his kids why he's pouring champagne on women.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think when you get older and you realize like a lot of that stuff was, it's like, why was I doing that? I think he kind of, I think he's dealing with that in various ways, or just in general. Like I think if you're not the kind of person that's comfortable with that kind of stuff, then it'll eat at you.
Right. Right.
You know, um, and so I don't know. It's really just comes down to whatever you're comfortable with. If she's comfortable with everything she's done, then it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. But
Remind me of somebody said, they said, I can't afford to believe in karma because the price is too great. I wonder who said that.
somebody smart.
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's I don't know which one is better. I think ultimately though the goal should be to maintain some type of like moral and ethical foundation on the way to whatever it is you do.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody's barometer for more everybody's is different.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if you as long as you're true to yourself, then no one will have a problem. Well,
Right.
they will. A lot of people will. But
All right. They have a problem
you know,
anyway.
it'll be easier for you to deal with the people who have a problem.
I don't even think you have to deal with people who have a problem.
When you're famous,
I don't think you have to though. Um, I think anytime you're dealing with somebody who has an issue with what you're doing, it only takes time and effort away from what you're doing. So I think if we really practice on, if we practice ignoring people, like genuinely ignoring them, and not just like, oh, that's I just I try to block out my haters, but like generally like not feeling anything about opinions, um, especially the opinions of people you don't know. I think we should be in the practice of having people that we trust around us to give us feedback or opinion that we can trust from a reliable source, and then just throw everything else out.
I do think that works in the real world. That
Mm.
doesn't work when you live your life on the internet.
So you always have to have some type of you know PR person to release a statement or an apology letter.
If you're a person, if you're a certain type of person, yeah. But like the people who are famous now, like that are our age and stuff, that's not how they do. That's why they always have these moments on video.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when something happens to them and it's uncomfortable or it's something they don't like, it's because they were already online and then somebody brought it up and now I have to talk about it online.
Right, right.
It's
Because it
different
happened in
when,
the online space.
yeah, like it's different when it's
Yeah,
like, you know, we're hanging out somewhere and somebody comes up to you and that's different. Like, no, I'm
right.
online and then these guys keep talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So like I do agree it's easy to ignore that if you're comfortable with not, because for them it might cost them money to ignore people in that way, because that's how they make money.
Right. I mean, I think we can just get to a point where everyone's just like disingenuous about the apologies and about what they're saying. It's just like,
I think
are we
everybody's
gonna get to a
disingenuous.
point? Are we gonna get to a point where people just say things just to like keep the ball rolling?
I feel like that's what they do now. Honestly, I feel like that's what happens now. Like when people apologize, I don't think it's. I never really. I can't tell you the last time I heard an apology from anyone that I felt was genuine.
I usually like hear the same thing. It's like, I understand what I did. I learned a lot from this. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I'll try better to be a better blah 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 in the future. And I'm only human. I'm trying or something. Everyone has like the same thing. And
Yeah,
but
it's not real.
if you can, rattle off that blurb and things disappear and people go on to the next story, it's like, why put so much personal, mental effort into it? Like in the real world, it's almost like just sitting that to, the apology department and have them fix it.
Yeah, but some people don't have that. Like they don't have, especially when it comes to like people in the music industry. Like they don't have the budgets for that.
Yeah.
There's no team no more. You have an A&R and a manager. That's it. And the manager
Yeah.
is probably somebody who came with you. And their job is the hardest. Like they're the ones who got to be with you on the road and in these clubs
Right.
and getting in fights and being around drug addicts, and they have to do, and they're normal people and they just have to be around for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they don't, that's not in the budgets no more, and then no artist is going to spend money on that because it makes more
Mm.
sense for them to have jewelry, clothes, cars. Like they're not going to spend money on a clinical therapist to have a nurse or like or a PR person.
Right.
Like PR is
So
my Instagram.
maybe we're at a point where people are more so just afraid of cancel culture, and you just focus on not saying anything too salacious or controversial, and you just don't really have an opinion at all. Just
I
like,
mean, you kind of can't. Not when you have corporate. Well, when you have corporate sponsors, no,
yeah, that's
no,
that's so crazy
you can't. You
because
can't
it
because
can sway back and forth. Anything that's like, like socially acceptable, corporate will go ahead and lash themselves to. When that same thing they lashed themselves to, they would have lashed themselves to 20 years ago, they would have lost customers.
mm-hmm,
But now it's the reverse. If you don't support X, Y, and Z, you'll lose customers.
mm-hmm.
But one or the other has to be true. So is it true
Mm-hmm.
that we just live our lives the way we need to and accept all these, X, Y, Z, um, things, or I'm trying not to actually say because I don't want to point any one particular organization out.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, okay, I'll just say if you didn't support Black Lives Matter until it was, profitable to support it, like
But that's
what did that
all of them.
say?
That's it's
It's
all
it's
it's
every
it's all
movement.
of them. Like
But one or the other has to be true. It has to be, no, I'm not supporting that because of XYZ, or I'm supporting that because of XYZ. One has to be true. Or is it just true? Is it just whatever any maybe it's just depending on how much money I'm going to make over X, Y, and Z. That's what makes it true.
or
That's what
lose.
makes it the reality. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they
That's
have
a weird
to.
place to be.
they have to make their consumers. The thing that makes it weird to me is that people know it's not authentic and they know what it's for and they still want to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they still want the comfort of knowing that you know the the store that they shop with or whatever the brand that they believe in feels a certain
Mm-hmm.
way, even though they know it's like a PR stunt, whatever. They just want to make sure they like, oh, okay, I feel good because they did it.
It's so weird. It's like Juneteenth when they passed that. They made it a federal holiday, and then everybody's excited. And next week, I think I was in like Macy's or something, and I'm looking at the clearance section, and there's all these different notebooks, Juneteenth mugs,
Mm-hmm.
Juneteenth, and they're on clearance now. And I'm just like, this is weird. This is weird that it's now a thing, and now it's being sold immediately and
Yeah.
discounted like a
Mm-hmm.
regular holiday. It's like
Yeah, I mean
it's weird.
that's what they do. That's all they can do. You know what I mean? Like I don't you know
uh,
I'm glad that more people now are. It does seem like more people are like now are kind of like, you know, they don't really care about that kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
I do see more people who are like that. Like, so, like something like that happens, they're like, so what?
Right.
You know? Um,
Yeah, that'd be me. Like, all right.
I mean that is me. It's like,
Like
okay,
let's
it's
focus
a
on the
holiday.
mission.
All right.
Let's focus on the mission. Don't throw me crumbs.
Yeah. So
I don't want gestures.
yeah, that's I don't know. That's a whole other thing in itself. But
Yeah.
you know, what can you say? But I mentioned Bezos earlier because I wanted to talk to you about the whole billionaire space race
Mm-hmm.
that's going on between him and Bronson. Well, it ain't a race no more. Bronson won because he already
Right.
went. Um,
What do you win?
I don't know. I don't know. Do we? I don't know. I don't. I mean, because I guess he went first because Bezos announced that he was going first, and
uh,
and that's why he stepped down as the president of Amazon. And I just couldn't help but think, I'm not even gonna say it until he comes back. So I'm not gonna say
mm.
my original thoughts until he goes up and comes back down alive. But because
But a
I don't
bad
want to put
juju on it.
that. Yeah, I ain't trying to put that in the atmosphere like that. But I don't know. He announced it first, and then Bronson came and was like, "I'm going too." Then he's like, "In fact, I'm going tomorrow." Like some stuff like that.
We're
And
launching tomorrow.
yeah, so he
They kind of
went.
just,
He went, and he's back.
and nothing's changed. Kind of remind me of space race like in the mid 60s, and everybody was racing to get to the moon or get into space. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's a huge symbolic thing because, the whole space race, and it was like trying to beat the Russians or the communists.
Yeah,
It's like showing that
that's
I'm better than you.
that was a big
And
deal.
it was more so our way of life is better in every way. And look at the things we can accomplish by living as capitalists. That's what that is.
No, that was a big
But
part of it.
I get that, right? It's not that I agree with it or whatever, but Jeff Bezos and Bronson, what does theirs mean to the greater scheme of what?
I think it means more on a personal level than it does for like us. And I say that because they're both going personally.
Right.
Like they didn't build this to have professionals go. They
Yeah.
built it so they can go.
Maybe it's just like another like toy.
It is a toy.
It's like another toy. It's like how many
Bro,
cars can you get? How many houses can you get? Look, I have a spaceship now.
Jeff Bezos can buy every single NFL team and still have money left.
Right. But maybe that's the thing. That word I can do that. So it's like I'm not excited to do that. I could.
No, but
Can I go
if
to
that's
space?
his
I don't
dream,
know.
like if that was his lifelong goal, because the government, as you mentioned, since the space race in the 60s or whatever, they
Hmm.
have really no interest in space. And
Yeah.
um I mean, I would like to know what the hell is going on in space, but they don't feel
Yeah.
that it requires all that money. Like, so going
Yeah.
to the moon was like an accomplishment because we went to the moon. Like, we took
Right.
humans from the Earth to the moon.
Hmm.
Um, and after that, it's kind of like, well, that's it, because
Yeah.
nobody else
Like
wants to go anywhere
you
else.
have to get the people excited again for
Yeah.
putting funding into NASA.
So I feel like guys like Bezos and Bronson are guys who wanted to continue that
Hmm.
exploration, but you know it didn't exist for them,
Right.
or they weren't the person who can go about it the conventional way.
Hmm.
So they went and took, they made the most of their talents to still put them in that position, which is amazing when you think about it. Like, okay, I can't be an astronaut, so I got to build the biggest company in the world
So
to
I can
go
be an
be an
astronaut.
astronaut. Like, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. Like, somebody paid like $38 million for a seat with Bezos,
Mm.
and then he couldn't even go. And he like, they had to send some kid or something, or another kid is going.
Mm.
Like, how you just pay 30 million and it's like, oh, I can't make it.
Yeah, I don't understand what the point is. I think
It's
it's just
because
it's
it's
just
because you're not an astronaut,
it's a
Dorance.
flex. It's a flex. It's an ultimate flex. You know, that's all
Well,
it is.
Bezos has said like that's his lifelong dream since he was a kid was to go to space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're about that age where they were growing up, looking at the
Hmm.
astronauts go up. They're probably a little bit younger. I don't know.
I'm
I
just
don't know
saying
how
it
old they
kind of
were.
it makes sense where if 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 space exploration has to come from like the private sector, it makes sense.
Did it though? There wasn't any opportunity to just give NASA funding.
No,
Like,
every
hey
time
guys,
that
we've been doing this for 50, 60 years.
no, the government is not when that comes out, and if they give them some money and nobody's going to give them extra money, nobody's signing off on that.
Right.
Like, there's no reason. Now, if there's a war or there's resources or anything like that, then that would change.
Yeah.
But um,
It's like
you
this is
know,
a do it yourself. I'm doing it myself.
yeah, like they're like, oh, 50 billion, okay, that's enough.
Yo, what happened to Space Force? I think that's still like
Oh,
that's
with
still a thing.
Trump's assigns, I don't know.
Yeah, Space
I
Force
don't
is a
know.
thing.
At first, I thought you was talking about the Netflix show, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm sure it's just a collection of people who probably work at
Who
NASA.
like space? Yeah.
Yeah, the government already had like a UFO division and all that. They just
Hmm.
announced it. This is how crazy the world is. It's like the world is so crazy. The government said we got alien spaceships, and nobody's talking about it.
It's like whatever. Like
Yeah,
I'm dying out here.
it's
Like, give
like
me free
that's
healthcare.
everyone is like,
I don't
forget
care about
all
your
that.
aliens.
Look at what the Democrats did. Like,
Right.
are you serious? They just came out and said they have spaceships, bro.
Mm.
They have aircraft that they cannot identify as being from this world.
Yeah, I completely missed that, and I don't care. Which is ridiculous.
What?
I'm like, I don't even care. You know
I
how
feel
much
like,
stuff I had to do this week?
yeah, it's true. That's
You be
probably
thinking
what
about
it is.
yourself, like, yo, I got to do this, this, and this, and this. I can't also like worry about aliens also. And my like one of them has time to do that.
Why not?
Not
See, but
because
it
it's
would
like you're gonna go down the rabbit hole of it, like
it would
really
only
like
matter.
trying to figure it out.
It would only matter if there were other things that came with it, like other resources, things people can use.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Am I gonna get a new iPhone with this new technology?
You might. You might
That's
get
what
like
that's
an
what people care about.
anti-gravity iPhone. You might. You know what I'm saying? You never
Are
know,
we
man.
probably gonna get
It's
flying cars? Like, it has to be a reason. What? Give me a reason to care
flying
with
car.
all
I
the shit
mean,
I got going on in my life.
we're barely. You know what? I hate all those guys, right? All the self-driving cars. bunch them up with the Bitcoin guys and all these. Like I hate all them guys, right? Because the hybrid guy, I hate all of them. But put them all together in a box and just
Right.
burn it, because I hate all of it. Like they you know, like Tesla just announced that they're having like a new subscription service,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody's favorite company, right? Tesla is having
Mm.
offering a new subscription service for autonomous driving. Now, take a guess at how much your subscription is monthly.
I'm tired of subscriptions. I don't want to subscribe to another thing.
But hold on, you already have a subscription. It's called your car payment. So think about,
Yeah.
think
Well,
about
well, I don't, but I get what you're saying.
I'm an average person who goes to buy a Tesla. They're gonna
Right.
have a payment, so that's already a subscription.
Yeah.
And then Tesla's saying if you want to have fully autonomous driving,
Your payment is a subscription.
you
Dang.
know,
I'm subscribed to this car for 5 years.
so they're charging $199 a month
to make your car drive by itself. This is your personal car?
Yeah.
So so once you subscribe, you just press a button.
Yeah, because it's all software.
You good to go.
I hate all them dudes, man. All them dudes who act like we're gonna live like the Jetsons, like in like 5 years. They're like, bro, it's gonna be so different. Like, no, it's not.
Yeah. What do you call it?
No, it is not.
Futurist? Yeah, I've never
like,
really been a futurist for sure.
we're 15 years from combustion engines being phased out. So we're 15
Like
years
obsolete.
from that.
But then they have to actually disappear also. You know,
they won't be making them. So they'll be around, but they won't be making anymore.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I mean, if you go to like go overseas. So I've never been, but you always see it. Like you go overseas and you know, and you see these cars that are like 60 years old and still running and beat up.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll believe in that when those people get the cars.
Yeah. Yeah, it got to trickle all the way down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's more like 50 to maybe even 100 years. I mean, look at Cuba when they were pretty much blocked out of any type of trading with the US. They had cars from the 50s, the 40s and 50s for like 50 years, and they were keeping them running.
Yeah.
You think all of a sudden those type of people who like, well, I'll keep my car running, are going to just all of a sudden just trade their car in for a new electric vehicle? Where's the money coming from?
Hell no. And beyond that, even people here who are driving that car, they're driving that car for a reason.
Yeah, because
they're driving it because they can't afford to go spend 60 grand on an electric car.
Exactly. These futurists don't even think about the real life people who haven't paid rent for a year and a half.
Because everybody's
and they're talking about
themselves.
The future. The future is it's like, look, my future is how I'm gonna pay my bills next month. That's the furthest future people have.
Everybody's thinking about themselves and what it'll mean for their portfolio. Yeah. That's it. That's why they're buying all the hybrid vehicle company or the electric vehicle companies and all that. Even though there's 15 years from now before they actually do anything, but they'll pay for a company now that doesn't have nothing. They don't make any money. They don't make any revenue. They're only going to sell like 5 cars a year, but they're going to buy it because, oh, in 15 years, it'll be worth whatever, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, man, shut up.
Yeah,
that's also a reason why I hate the internet, because I see a lot of that too.
There's people buying into the lifestyle because driving a Tesla is like a cult following. You're part of a whole nother world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people can really get caught up.
I mean, I've been in because Drew has one. Drew has a Model 3 and it's fast, minimal. His is nice. I mean, I know they have some quality control issues. Like, you know, sometimes cars get delivered and the panels are like off. They're not on correctly. Ben Baller had like an issue where he got trapped in his car with him and his kids. And he has a kid that's like special needs or something. So
yeah, that's scary.
I can't remember exactly what it is, but I know he has like so being in that space was like very, very uncomfortable for him. And I forgot how he got out, but it's, I don't know, man. I know it sounds like we shit on Tesla every week, but
I'm just trying to figure out how you're going to maintain it. Like, I haven't seen any like, Tesla auto body shops or repair shops.
because they don't want you to do it.
Yeah, but how are you going to have people maintain, the everyday person, to maintain this electric vehicle lifestyle if you can't go down the street, and get your electric car fixed?
You go to Doug's muffler,
Right.
Doug's electric
Right.
muffler,
Right. Yeah, for sure. Like the everyday person.
I don't know, man.
I wonder what's going to happen to the small industry too.
Well, they produce. I'm not even, forget all
It's
that.
like carbon emissions.
It's all the same. Like nothing changes.
So I wonder how that's going to be regulated.
Nothing changes. It's and P Minty actually mentioned it in a comment maybe last week or like the week before, where he was like, I have a hunch that all like the fires in the Amazon and all that is to get like the lithium and stuff for the batteries.
The fire?
Yeah, because remember,
Like
like the
how hard it's
Amazon
going
was
to be
on
to get,
fire.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
because like how does the Amazon just catch on fire? I've never been there, but from my understanding, like when you're in the Amazon, like it's like thick, really, really dense forest. You can't just navigate through the Amazon.
Yeah.
So how does a fire just start?
Yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, they say that's like the Earth's lungs, because if people don't know, we breathe oxygen, and oxygen comes from trees. So the more we burn down, the more we're not going to be able to actually breathe.
Science teacher Dorance.
Yeah. So study your book and come back and we'll have a quiz. How
this
do we
is like
live?
the conspiracy show. That's what this is. This is the conspiracy show. But
right.
But yeah, it's all the same. So I mean, I don't know. They want you to take it in, because there's a guy who's pretty famous online for trying to repair his own Tesla and getting his own parts, and they wouldn't let him.
I think it's Rich something.
Yeah.
I've seen a story on Vice. Rich Fix, I think so. Rich Fix.
Something like that. So
I don't know if they his own parts and everything.
Yeah, I don't know if they've made up since then or if they have a better relationship now, but they want you to come back to them.
Yeah, because his channel blew up, talking about the difficulties having with rebuilding his Tesla or fixing it. I believe he had a Tesla that was completely flooded out, and they wanted to just call it a total it out or something like that.
Yeah, but they don't really care about that.
Exactly. That's what he found out.
Yeah.
So he ended up getting another Tesla and kind of switching the parts over to the other Tesla and building another Tesla. And no one would do that. And it's a whole thing. Like, you have to get the Tesla on the system, because you're not going to be able to go use fast charging or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was a whole thing.
I think they were blocking him. They were blocking
they
his
wouldn't
car
put him on
from
the system.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to ask people. You have to ask them to get back on the system so you can enable fast charging, because he can only like trickle charge at home or something, which takes like 8 hours or 9 hours or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they don't care about.
That's gonna be a monopoly.
Well, there's a Chinese company called Neo, that everybody loves, and I think they're the only one that could actually be like a real thing. But even the way they go about servicing things isn't sustainable. Like, they have actual like battery swaps, where you like drive in on like a platform, and then the platform like lifts your car up, it takes the battery out and puts another one in.
Wow. I wonder if the battery's being recycled.
Do you think so? What if it was? Well, if it was cheaper, if whatever the cheaper option is, that's what's happening. So if it's cheaper to ball them up and Kobe, and throw them in the trash can, then that's what's going on.
Just ball them up.
Yeah. put
I'm
them in a little
sure.
box, in a little ball.
And that's why I don't believe this is the sustainable way. This is gonna. It's like, is it really? Are we just really
No.
creating a whole nother problem of trash?
Yeah, because everything is disposable. This is all plastic. All these cars are made of plastic.
They say that the more sustainable way is to keep the car you have and keep driving that.
Absolutely.
Not to take more resources out of the earth to build something new.
Yeah, they don't care though. They
But
don't
that's the
care.
message though. That's the message. I feel good about, I don't know, not putting more carbon emissions into the earth or into the air because I drive a Tesla or I drive an electric vehicle. It's all marketing.
It's
We
nationwide.
arrive at the same conclusion.
It's all nationwide market. Like even companies like Nike. Like Nike is like, we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint, reduce our waste. So now they make shoes that are like, recycled and of old materials and stuff. And some of them are cool because it's Nike. Like they have the best designers in the world, the best engineers. Like, it's Nike. But then it's like, you see him in person and you see the sole, and the sole just looks like paper mache. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just crumbled up.
Yeah.
And
So you can go get some more so they can continue to run the sweatshops.
it's literally like they just slapped a bunch of old parts together. It's like, okay, we got some old.
We're gonna literally give you some trash shoes so
Yes.
you won't even think about the fact that we still run sweatshops in China.
Yes. That's exactly what's going
Like,
on.
no,
Yes.
like don't worry about that. We're sustainable.
Yes.
That's what
And
you
I ain't
guys
gonna
like
lie.
now, right? That's the
I
new
ain't gonna lie.
buzzword. I'm sustainable.
I'm gonna buy some. But what I'm saying is
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna consume. I'm gonna consume them.
yeah, I'm buying Vita some, because she likes them. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a lot of that.
she
Man.
got
It's a
like a
whole
new
lot
pair
of.
in 6 months after the
I don't
soul
know. I don't
tear up.
know. Well, I see a lot of people wearing them. They're really popular. Like, I see people wearing them in the gyms and whatnot. So,
And then those people can feel good about themselves.
yeah,
I'm sustainable. My
yeah. I
consumerism is
don't know.
okay because it's sustainable.
That's weird. But they are doing that. You know what I'm saying? Nike is. All those companies are kind of doing that, but Nike is the one that I've actually seen like really like dig into it. And
Yeah.
speaking of Nike, man, did you know? So LeBron, LeBron is supposedly, because he just released Space Jam.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that? That's the new
Yeah.
Space Jam came out.
Yeah, I seen this coming.
I tried to watch it, I couldn't do it.
Nostalgia just wasn't hitting right.
It's not the same. Like, I'm sure the kids like it, and that's who it's for.
Mm-hmm.
I just think for us, it was when the original Space Jam came out, it was more about Michael Jordan being away, and because he was so big for the game of basketball, like seeing what he was doing while he was away,
right,
was enough to watch it.
Mm-hmm. It's like a whole another narrative built into like his real life.
Yeah, because the movie was about him basically coming back to the NBA.
Right.
So it was like, I haven't watched him all year. Now I get to see him kind of, in between, on his way to coming back.
Comeback marketing. Yeah. We're gonna release a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what the plot is. I'm sure that's not it.
From like the part that I did see, the only thing I didn't like, but I'm gonna. It's funny because I'm like,
we don't give no spoilers here. You don't get some spoilers.
Nah, because this is not a spoiler. But the only thing I didn't like, was how it was like a huge commercial for one. Well, I already knew one. It would be a commercial for Nike. The whole thing is a Nike commercial,
right?
And then, but outside of that, it's a commercial for all the content that Warner Brothers has. So throughout the movie, they have like references to all like Warner Brothers content.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there's scenes where
they
he's
reference
like,
in different movies that they own. And they can say like, "Oh, I remember that movie. Let me go stream it."
Let me go stream. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so obvious. Like it's crazy how obvious it was. But that was the thing that really made it like I'm turning this off.
Yeah.
But
Where did you watch it?
On HBO on HBO
HBO.
Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I did see that was coming out.
Yeah, when it's one of those movies like when it comes out, you can stream it
Right.
for
That's
free.
cool.
So I was just sitting here and it was late and I was like, let me watch Space Jam just to,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not the same. I mean, the
Yeah.
plot is like he loses his son to somewhere online, like the serververse,
Mm-hmm.
basically like a Warner Brothers serververse, and he
Mm-hmm.
has to go play ball against the other guys to get his son back.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's so 2021.
I wish I knew
The
kids.
internet took my
Like,
son.
yeah, I wish I knew some kids
Was
that
it
who
his
went
real
to go
life
see
son?
it, so I could be like, no, it wasn't his. No.
Okay.
So you can go and ask them if they actually liked it.
Yeah.
You know. So
I think that was nostalgia for the kids who grew up with the original one. No kids is what looking. Oh, you see that new Space Jam? People at middle school like, you see that new Space Jam? Yeah.
they might. I don't know. You never know. Yeah. So anyway, Space Jam. So I brought up LeBron because he's apparently gonna become. So they're saying he's going to become a billionaire at the end of the year. Um, and I think they're saying that based on his gross income
Over his
So
career, right?
no, like over this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
So
it was over the career.
I mean,
I
it might. I don't
only
know.
read like one blurb about it.
I don't know. I know he makes a lot of money off the court.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's in talks to sell his company, like his Spring Hill Productions company or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the valuation that I read was like 750 million.
Mm.
So I mean, if you add that to his lifetime deal with Nike, which is well over $1 billion, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, his NBA contract and any other things that he has that are worth money, I'm sure he's already there.
All right. So congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know him. Like I don't know. I don't know him personally. Like I can't, congrats LeBron. Like I don't know.
What does it mean? I don't know. I don't know what it means.
I think it means a lot for the sport. Like if you're in the NBA
Mm-hmm.
and um I think it means a lot for the sport in terms of like what if you're that level of talent and superstar, I think it shows what you can do.
And
You
that's
know what I mean?
significant.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and
That's
for
significant
him,
to the people in the NBA
yeah. I
or the
mean,
people wanting
absolutely.
to make it to the NBA.
Well, yeah. Of course, if you want to make it to the NBA, then you're looking to LeBron. LeBron is the face of basketball today
Mm-hmm.
because he's like corporate basketball.
Right.
Like Mike was like Larry and Magic were like Wild Wild West NBA. Like they was out
Mm-hmm.
here doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
Um, but the cameras weren't on them, and so they didn't have to have certain things didn't apply. Mike
Right.
came in and took it to like a different level to where he was, Mike was an enterprise in itself, just while still playing. But he kind of
Mm-hmm.
the thing that was interesting about Mike is that he still put the game first.
Right. He's like,
Like he
I still want to win games.
Yeah, like he put basketball. You could tell like he respected basketball in a way that was like beyond everything else that he had his hands in. It's like
Right.
the game is still paramount. Um, Kobe was definitely that. Like all he cared about was basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Until he retired. But LeBron was more so like I think his ambitions have always been beyond basketball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think you only get to that point by seeing what Mike and Kobe did. By seeing where Mike took it to his level, Kobe took it to his level, and how much he meant to the game of basketball, what he did for the NBA, in China, because Kobe was huge in China.
Right.
And so I think LeBron is like, I think for him, his mission was always that. It's like, I care about ball, I play ball, I like it, but ultimately I want to be on this level.
Right. Maybe that's just two different people, people who
No, it
really
is.
care about the profession and what they're doing and being good at that, excelling in that arena. And then someone who is probably good at the profession and they can leverage it to something else. And that
I think
becomes the ultimate goal.
I think ultimately that was, but again, he comes from very extreme circumstances. So, if I don't think he can, especially in today's league, I don't think you really can care about basketball the same. Like you get, I think Steph Curry's contract was like $240 million in 5 years or something, or 4 years, whatever it was, 4 years. So that's a lot of money,
Right.
5 years. When Mike was playing, he was making like $6 million a year, which was a lot of money back then, but he didn't really make big money until his last 2 years. He was making 30 million a year.
Right.
And then after that, nobody else made that kind of money until like Kobe did it.
I remember it wasn't like 36 or something. I
Like
remember
30, I
around
think
that time.
32.
It was like in the 30s, and all of a sudden it just jumped up to 50. And it was like, whoa.
Yeah, nobody did that. It was
just kept
nobody did
going.
that for because the NBA signed a new TV deal. So they signed like a $9 billion TV deal. So that money goes into each team basically. And then that also increases the salary caps.
Right. That makes
So
sense.
now they have like an additional 60-70 million dollars. Like your salary cap went from like 60 million to like 180 million.
Yeah.
So
you have enough more to pay out.
yeah. So I don't think they can care in the same way. I mean, when you're making these kinds of you're playing in a time where these things are normal, where where you had to be Michael Jordan to make $15 million a year 20 years ago. Today, like a guy who's the eighth man on the bench is making 15 million a year. And he's not even playing.
Well, you still have to account for inflation, and depending on where they're actually playing. Like if you're making 15, well, if you make 15 million a year in California, you're still gonna be okay.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll still be fine.
Listen, $15 million is $15 million. Like even if you account for inflation, like it's not the same. Like Chris Paul's deal, or no, I think it was James Harden's deal. His deal in Houston was like, I think his final year, if he signed I think he did sign an extension, but he was going to be making like $60 million. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy. I won't say it's crazy, but when you think about it, like, so if somebody's arguing with you like they were with Kevin Durant about how great you were, or you didn't play defense, or what type of defense some team is playing, how would you care? Like, bro, I made $2 million for being on the court that day.
Yeah.
Why would I care?
So are we getting to a point where if you make enough money, the art of your being in the profession and improving the art of being in that profession just doesn't matter anymore? If you make enough
I think
money,
we've been there. I think we've been there for a while.
And I think that might be across the board.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, you're professional as you want to be, but I'm paid.
Yeah, no,
Going back to full circle of how people believe,
we've been there for a while.
All right. Okay, yeah, you go practice, you free throws, that's fine, but I still got paid.
I think we've been in that space for a while. I mean, that's something that like T-Pain was talking about on Instagram when he went on that rant. But
they do something different rant.
Yeah, when he's telling everybody to do something different. Like we already have Da Baby, Lil Baby, be somebody else.
Right.
But the person who's out here, like I heard a guy the other day, he popped up on my Instagram and with a sponsored ad, and he was promoting his music. It was like a clip of his video, and he sounded exactly like Nipsey Hussle. Like it wasn't even if I played it for you, you would think it was an unreleased Nipsey song.
His whole cadence and
everything, ad libs and all that,
Mm.
everything. And people were like, "Yo, this is dope." And they're like, "Oh, you sound just like Nipsey." So now he can fill that void, like you know what I mean. So I think people look at what's working and what people want,
Yeah.
and they
It's
just
like,
do it.
why reinvent the wheel? It's like, if I know this works, I'm gonna just do that. If the point is to make money anyway, and that's the end all be all, why be different? Why try something new?
Yeah.
You know, why push the boundaries? Why be yourself? You know, why have an opinion? It's gonna mess up the money. Why try
No,
something
it's
new?
true.
So
That's true.
I don't know. We might be getting to a point where whatever works for somebody else, someone's just gonna try to duplicate it, and we're gonna have a world where everyone's just the same.
Everyone already is the
Everyone
same.
wears the same clothes, same jewelry, drive the same cars.
That already happened because of the internet. The internet created a lot of things that I don't think like people fully accounted for at at its inception.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But like the internet created a lot of things. Like there's a lot of branches that come from the internet. Like we go on a trip today, we can go land in wherever, and people are dressed there the same way they're dressed here.
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas like when we were growing up, it was like, okay, I know you from New York because you wear Timberland boots.
Yeah.
Right. But there aren't that many places like that anymore. Everyone looks the same. Everyone looks the same. We use the same words.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people out here have Southern accents because they're using words from Atlanta and New Orleans that are now a part of like, you know, slang and whatnot.
Right.
And you know, so it is everybody is the same. You all like the same things. You all do the same things, and that's why they all get scammed together because people know that. But
right.
But yeah, you're right. I think ultimately people want to be the same, and I think the guys who, because really, honestly, the people who really like have major success are the guys who are different. Those are the guys who like really do it like big.
Right.
You know, the other guys can just be around, but they'll never get to, you know, because they can only mimic what other people are doing.
Right.
There's a reason why Drake is Drake. Even if you don't like Drake, there's a reason why he's him. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if it was so easy to be him, somebody would be him. But you can't.
Yeah.
You know, but I can be Lil Baby, Da Baby, J Baby, whatever. I can do that. So I'm gonna do that and make $20-30 million in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I can see it has to be based on what that individual person's goal is and how far they actually really want to take it. So if you're okay with, you know, getting out of your mom's house or getting off the block, and you know you can have a decent house or a decent lifestyle, you might be okay with just doing the minimal that gets you out of that situation.
But you know what? You know what? You said something. I don't mean to cut you off, but you said something that we say often, like within our community, in terms of like getting off the block and all that. But what if the people who are doing this aren't from the block?
Yeah.
We always talk about culturally how, you know, people getting out of the streets and the street life, like part of our identity amongst each other is criminalized. Like black men have to be the things that make a black man real in many cases, not in all, but the things that make a black man real in many cases like are tied to criminal activities.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But you know, if you look at the numbers, everybody can't be criminals.
Right.
You know, so all these things about I don't snitch and whatever, that only applies to criminals. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to say everyone's not in these extreme circumstances to where they have to do that.
I think the narrative of, making it from absolutely nothing to something is a huge like American narrative that people
But
like
you're not.
really feed into.
How many people live in nothing?
But everyone wants to have that narrative. I had nothing. Like if you ever see like anybody, um, give their story, they always start with I had nothing, or I was living in my car, I was homeless. It's like people only value the narrative that you started with nothing and you became a success. Because pitching that narrative, it's like it's a dangerous thing, because anybody can just point at that person and say, well, look at their story. They started from nothing and you can do it too. And just based on numbers, everyone can't do it. Everyone can't be in the top 1%. It's just not how math works. Everyone can't be in the top 20%.
Or the bottom.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? If I understand like the whole underdog story, like I get that. I understand why that works. It's just interesting how everyone can be that.
Yeah. Or have to be that to be accepted. Just like you said, Kim Kardashian, he said they basically discounted her success because they said she came from money.
Well, they kind of discounted it because of what she's famous for.
So. Well, it's just not even just her. If you start with anything, if your narrative is not I came from nothing, they will always discount your success. It's like, oh well, you had, X, Y, and Z. That's why you successful.
Yeah.
Well, you had two parents. I had no parents. So your success is just it's less than. Your success is less than my success. Like what type of
Can I just say
conversation
how
is this?
dumb that shit is? Like that is the dumbest shit ever. Like I understand.
Score?
I
Who's
understand.
keeping
Well,
score?
apparently they are, but I understand why someone may think that. But to say at the end of the day, everybody's the same. Like I feel like we spend so much time trying to like separate ourselves from each other. But if me and you are sitting in the car, if me and you are in a car together going somewhere and we get pulled over, we're not gonna get treated differently.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's the same. Regardless of whoever's with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna pull me out and say, okay, you're okay.
Right.
Or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Whoever you're with, we're the same once you leave your community. Mm-hmm. So to be trying to do all these things that divide, it's pointless and it's stupid because you're cutting off resources.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're cutting off people who could potentially help you by saying, "Oh, he got two parents." He didn't choose that.
Right.
How is he going to choose him having two parents?
Well, I mean, we look, we know people who wish they had different stories.
I wish I had a different story. I wish I was born a billionaire. Yes. That doesn't mean like I have to go and like shit on everybody who's a billionaire. Like, oh, he just lucky because his daddy got. Yeah. I wish my daddy had some money like that when I was born. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure he wishes it too. Like, it's just not. There's. I just don't. I feel like that's pointless. Like to separate yourself from someone.
Like we know people who like they will throw away their 2-parent household lifestyle to have a different narrative.
Oh, I know.
Like it's just completely weird. Like that's when we start getting really sick into this. Like it has to be this way. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Like culturally,
there's
all
tons
these
of
things, are the things that we would consider, um, someone being seen or recognized as a man. In our community, it's often tied to those types of things.
mm-hmm.
But
Like a ghost.
no, it's the door. Like it's the oldest door in history. But like, like those things don't even like. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why you have to distance yourself from someone or separate yourself from someone in that way when we're standing next to each other outside of our community. We're the same.
Right, right.
Like why can't we just take that within?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to, I don't want to mess with him because of so and so. Now, if it's a personal issue, I get that. Like I don't, like I think it's weird when people wear watches on their right arm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just do.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of guys that I've run into that we don't really click, and the one common thing is they wear their watches on the right arm. So I don't know that, you know what I'm saying? So if I,
that's a very unique way to judge someone immediately.
Hey man, it's
like I'm judging people's bald tires. You judging people wearing their watch on their right hand. Like, oh, I see you coming. You got them bald ass tires. I know what type of person you are.
It's like, all right, yeah, all right.
You're not maintaining your life correctly. That right arm watch. Something's going on in your life.
Man. So it's I don't know why we do that, and I don't know why it's okay to just. I just don't know why it's not okay to just be you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so what if you got a mom and a dad? That's what kills me too, because I dealt with that growing up, and how people would always say, "Oh, you have a mom and dad." And I'm like, bro, I didn't choose that.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you know life is just butterflies and dandelions if you have parents? How do you know?
Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing too. I seen something that said, some people were, what were they saying? I think it was a meme that said something about, everyone always says, you should have two parent household is like the you know the epitome of where you want to be. And like, but how are those parents? What if they were like, abusers, or X, Y, and Z? You just never know. So it's just weird. It's just weird to put certain things on a pedestal and make it the norm, or make it the requirement, really, the requirement to your blackness or to your success.
Yeah,
or is discounted.
It's those who have not always set the standard for those who have, which is weird. Which is why I was never into like being famous, because when you're famous, then those things apply to you, and even if you don't subscribe to them, they still become a part of your world because of the internet. Like, and that going back to like Kevin Durant, like people were talking to him about narratives, like, oh, why'd you go over there? You could have made more money over here. Oh, you hated Draymond, or you hated so and so, or things like that. And he's like, man, that has nothing to do with it.
Right.
We talking about basketball.
It's like, you don't think this man has a whole life outside of what you see on the court?
No, they don't.
It's like his life only exists on that court. Everything that I observe on the court and through news and articles and internet is what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, we do this podcast between an hour and a half and 2 hours. So that's what we're made up of, huh? Those hours.
Yeah.
Like,
on the internet.
That's you.
When people see you, they be like, oh, you're the podcast guy. Like that's
right. That's you.
Do the podcast. That's what they're gonna say.
Like, no, that hour and a half showed me everything I need to know about you. About you, buddy. I get you. I mean, I get you now. And I have an opinion.
Man. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I understand it. I definitely understand it, because we all like a good story and whatnot. And those types of stories are very, yeah. But the way we spend time on it and try to apply it to real life, there's a lot of people who, I think that's where like a huge part of like the push for mental health and all that comes from, is because there's so many people pretending they can't even be themselves.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Amongst people they know, and then when they leave the house.
Yeah.
And I think that's why like I'm gonna encourage if if in if Jada decides to go to school for whatever it is she's doing, I'm going to encourage her to go like somewhere away
Mm-hmm.
to
Talking
learn
about
how to
college.
be, yeah, to learn how to be herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I think it's important to find that space where you can exist as your natural self, not
Mm-hmm.
as you know, not as someone who's known you since you were in kindergarten
Mm-hmm.
will know you.
Yeah.
You know, um, so yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. 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 You can't get away from who you are. Wherever you go, there you are. So sometimes you just have to, like, I don't know, you just have to just be true to yourself.
All the time.
At least at minimum, don't lie to yourself. If you want to lie on the internet or lie to the internet or people, I think where people mess up and really turn the corner is when they lie to themselves. They start believing the lie they told internally.
And that's yeah, I see that sometimes. And actually, I just recently blocked my first person on Instagram. Like just
Dang.
recently, I just blocked, because usually I'm like, whatever, I can scroll past it. Like
Welcome
I'm
to the
not.
power.
I
So you
just
got to use
recently
your true
blocked
power.
somebody, um, and only because they were doing exactly what we're talking about, and it was to the point where it was like disrespectful,
Mm.
like because they just assumed this whole identity
Right.
as if you know as if like you don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, say me and you grow up together. What we
Mm-hmm.
did, duh. So me and you, me and you grow up
Okay, let
together,
me think about that. All right.
yeah. And then you become famous or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then you be like, you just completely avoid the fact that you came from Rialto, California,
Right. Yeah, that's weird.
and and then you live in New York, right? So it's like, oh yeah, I'm from New York.
Mm-hmm. You'd be like, wait, what?
Like,
I've been
uh,
all over the place, and that's one thing I've always did was if people say where you from, I say I'm from Rialto, California. No matter
mhm.
where I'm at. I mean, different states, China, and people don't know where this place is. They
Hell
don't know where
no.
Rialto is, and but I'm often, at times I was often around people that were from LA, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm from LA," and they'd be like, "Oh, y'all from LA?" Well, no, I'm from Rialto. It's
Yeah.
about an hour from LA. It's like kind of like a suburb, and inland, it's more inland, and it's, I think it just says something when you feel like everything that you grew up with is just all of a sudden not good enough, where you have to make up a whole new backstory.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, who are you? You can only lie to yourself. You can't
Well,
lie to,
at
like,
that point,
lie to me.
that's the thing. It's like, who are you? So it's like, I've never known you.
It's like, I think about somebody like Prince. Um, he was from Indianapolis.
Hmm.
Like,
No, he's from Minnesota,
yeah, Minnesota. So
Minneapolis.
who
Yeah.
at that time, who was saying I'm from Minnesota during that time where you was either from LA or New York?
Hmm.
It wasn't no South at that time. And he comes out like, yeah, this is where I'm from. And that was no that like that that didn't take nothing for him. Like, the music and the art pushed away. It wasn't about, hey, yeah, I'm from LA or I'm from New York. It's like, I'm from where I'm from. I still live there, and I'm gonna give you this fire ass work and content. So I don't know. There's examples of people who just are just completely truly themselves, and it's okay.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
okay. It'll be fine.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. It's really weird to see. It's just weird to see it. You know what I mean? Like if that's like if me and you go somewhere and I introduce you to someone like, oh yeah, this is my buddy Dorance,
Mm-hmm.
and then you introduce yourself as like John.
Right. I'd be like, nah, it's Leroy.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Like, so now I just look dumb. Like, what you mean your name is John?
You don't even know him.
Yeah, so and that's happened before with
Right.
with me and Mike, me and Michael, shout out Mike.
Uh-huh.
Uh we were somewhere and I think we were at a party and
Mm-hmm.
I introduced him to someone I knew and I said, "Oh, this is my friend." And I said her name and
Mm-hmm.
then she reached out her hand and introduced herself as something totally different, right? Like just like totally
Right.
different.
Right.
And I was looking like, "That ain't your name?"
Right.
But,
Yeah. I'm back.
all right, Dorance had to take a potty break.
Had to go potty.
But
Exactly. You got kids,
like
you use kid terms.
that is true. Um, what was I saying? Oh, but yeah, people being too soft and all that. But I do think that's true now because, um, the internet gives you a different level of like security
Mm-hmm.
to where people feel like they're entitled or deserve everything, and
Right.
and out here it kind of works that way because you know the way things work with like corporations and just society as a whole, things kind of flow in the means of whatever they try to satisfy everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could kind of work here, but in other places though, in certain places it won't work. And interestingly enough, I was watching the some highlights of the USA team playing against Nigeria,
Okay.
and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and the U.S. is always like the uh, the benchmark for
Mm-hmm.
excellence in sports and all that, especially basketball.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they always smacking everybody.
Yeah, and then they got beat by Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone is like, "What's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
And when I was watching the highlights, something I noticed was um, they're not getting the calls that they're accustomed to get
Mm.
because the international game is different.
Right.
The rules are different, and so
They play like 90s basketball.
yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely more physical,
Mm-hmm.
and so you see some of these guys where they go into their move and they go do something and they try to flop because they're so accustomed to
Oh.
flopping on the shot. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
a skill at this point, but then they don't get the calls.
Yeah. They're
So
like,
now
oh,
that
what happened?
yeah, you're not even trying. You're not even trying to actually score the ball.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get the flop, right?
You're not trying to score the ball. That sounds
No, you're
ridiculous when you're talking about a sport. You're not trying to make a point.
no, they're trying to get to the line. So
Yeah.
in the international game, it's not like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for at least for me, the first time I can say I kind of believe, I kind of agree with the previous generations in
Mm-hmm.
their in that thought. Like I think people are too soft now.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, I think they are kind of just too entitled and all of that because of things like the internet. Um,
Well, you get accustomed to comforts, like certain comforts that you have, and I'm sure before the refrigerator came out, you can refrigerate your food, and you know now extend the life of your food for weeks and weeks and months at a time.
yeah,
The people before them was like, oh, they soft. We had to do? We had to
yeah,
eat
you
our
have to,
food 3 days.
yeah,
you know, or it could be, I think as time goes on, we always just believe that the last generation or the next generation is always softer because they're allowed so many different advances that we just didn't have.
No, it's true.
But
It
in
makes
terms of
life more
basketball,
convenient.
though, like I don't even watch NBA basketball. I stopped watching a long time ago because of the fact that I felt like nobody. It was like no more hustle. You remember like hustle? Like I don't even think that's a word in basketball anymore. Like, hey, hustle, get the ball. It's like no one's trying anymore. It's apparent.
Well, if
It's
you're
apparent
making
that no one's
$30
trying.
million and you're not even the best player on the team, why would I dive on the floor?
Right. And mess up and break my ankle or something.
Exactly.
Or I'm gonna be sitting out. Well,
But I think,
that's why it's not the sport for me anymore to watch because I like to see competitiveness. I want to see people try on if I'm watching a sport or if I'm watching life. Like I don't. Why would I just sit and watch people that's not really trying? Is it how? Okay, I'm not entertained by that.
yeah.
There's a certain level of entertainment I want in my life and from my entertainment sources, and if I'm not entertained, like I don't want it. I'm not gonna watch a whole bunch of people that's not trying in life. Like, what is this? What is this? Why are we doing this?
Nah, you're right. You're right.
Like,
I agree.
are we doing it out of habit now? Do we have to ask us? Are we just doing this out of habit now?
Um, yeah, I think we are. I think we are kind of. I think because it works. It worked. Like again, you saw somebody sign a contract for $100+ million,
Right.
and well, if he does that, then I'm gonna do that.
Maybe the entertainment is not so much just around the game of basketball and scoring points. Maybe it's everything. It's what happens off court. It's what happens online, where Katie can get you know opinions from some guy online, and then you go watch the game and see if he's affected by that. Maybe it's like a all encompassing like entertainment, this 24/7 that people are enjoying now. It's not
Now,
just the
yeah,
game of basketball. Of
no, now
let's see who scores
it's
the most points and win. It's like,
yeah,
oh
no,
no,
it's
it's
well
deeper than
beyond
that
that.
now.
Yeah, it's well beyond that now. Because if you score a bunch of points, they actually hate you. Like the media will count that against you. They'll say, "Oh, all he does is score." Like that was the knock on
Yeah,
LeBron because because he was so good at just making plays for other people. It's like, oh, well, he never scores.
yeah.
But then he ends up having like he's gonna end up having the most points scored, like in NBA history.
That's just an
Um,
example of no matter what you do, it's not good enough. Kobe didn't pass the ball enough. LeBron
I
passes the
hate to
ball
see,
too
but
much.
I hate. Well, there are truths in some of those things. Like, is it true that Kobe didn't pass the ball a lot? It depends. It depends on on how we're looking at it. If Kobe's been up practicing every day since 5 a.m. and only sleeping 4 hours, and then he gets in the game and he has the opportunity to take a shot that he's been working on every day for the last however many years that he's made comfortably, right? Or is he gonna pass it to a guy like Smush Parker who came to practice 10 minutes late every day?
He's not trying, and not
So
in particular, but
yeah, I'm just and he's never really like Derek Fisher. I don't even think Derek Fisher's averaged more than 10 points in his entire career. So Kobe had Shaq, right? That's another thing. Kobe had Shaq. So people can never count him as great because he played with Shaq, even though he averaged 25, 27, and 30 while Shaq was there.
mm-hmm.
People will never count him as great because of his presence.
That goes back down to we talked about people discounting someone's success
Mm-hmm.
based on XYZ.
Yep. So, um, so yes, Kobe didn't pass the ball as much as other people would like. I don't blame him because he's played with a lot of people who weren't I don't want to say trustworthy, but they probably wouldn't deliver in the way that he felt they needed to if he
And he
gave them the ball.
trusted himself more.
Yeah. But when you working all the time, like that's like the gift and the curse. when you're the guy who's the hardest worker on the team, and then there's no one who's near you.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? Like no one is near your level.
He's like, I'll do it.
Yeah, because that's why they call him Batman. They call him the Black Bruce Wayne. Because it's like no one, Kobe has a weapon for everything, right? Whereas with LeBron, he does pass the ball a lot because he's making the basketball play. But he also doesn't shoot enough, which is he doesn't. Because if he's the best player on the team and it's, the game is on the line, nobody wants the guy. If I'm an owner, I want the guy I'm paying the most money to take care of this. Right. And LeBron is like, screw all that. I'm going to let the little guy, take the shot.
Maybe that's just not his game. People try to change his game.
It's not his game.
If you pay me so much amount of money to play basketball, you paid for what you're getting. You can't say, oh, yeah, I like the way you play, but I also want you to be clutch like Kobe and take the shot. It's like, you already gave me the money for what I do. Like, what are you talking about?
It's just because he's not a one-on-one player. So, and in those moments, I think that was like what he struggled with early in his career, is that he tried to force himself to be the one-on-one guy in those moments, and he always failed. And he cared about it so much that he kept trying to do it over and over again, until ultimately when he got to Miami, that changed. That changed for him because he had other guys he can count on.
Yeah, he can play off other people.
But he still has the ball, 90% of the time on the court. So I get it. Like there's truth in both. I know we're going on
I don't know
tangents
how
about basketball. But there's truths in both of those things. So you could say them, and oftentimes there are truth, things like layered in there, but it's not the whole truth. Like, you know what I mean? It's definitely not the whole truth. You know what I'm saying? But I think I don't even know how we came up on basketball like that, honestly. This is the alien NBA episode.
Right. Hey, Space Jam. It's the Space Jam episode.
Space Jam. Yeah, it kind of sounded like it. But yeah, so that's I don't even what were we doing? I don't even know what we was doing. I don't know what was going on. I don't know. I'm delirious anyway, man, because I'm on this 10-day cleanse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm on day 6. Which I was thinking because I was gonna go with you to the party, and I was like, man, I can't do nothing anyway because I'm on a cleanse.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, shout out John. John's 40th birthday.
That'd have been pointless. Yeah, shout out him. But yeah. So I'm already kind of. I think the way it's structured, they like purposely put day 6 there because that's like the only smoothie that tastes good. So day 1 through 5 is trash.
All right.
Like trash.
So you just trying to make it to day 6.
You get to day 6 and you get like a little taste of hope. And then it's like, okay, I got 4 more days of trash.
Right.
And then I'll be over it.
What you doing the cleanse for?
Just from coming back. Well, I wanted to do one a while back, but because I noticed my blood pressure was a little high. Just more higher than it normally would be.
Right.
Like on a regular. And you're just eating so much stuff. But I knew I was going to Louisiana. Right. So when I went there, I was drinking a lot. We're eating whatever. Everything has sodium in it. All the sugar from alcohol. So I just waited until I got back to do it. And it's basically just to get rid of all that stuff that you've been collecting. You do lose some weight in the process, but I don't personally do it for that. I kind of just do it to feel better.
Right. Yeah.
To kind of get yourself together. And just become normal again. And then so I decided to do that. Me and Vita did one together. She actually quit yesterday.
He's gonna blast her out.
Yeah, so nah, she's still participating, but not in the full way.
So the smoothie all day and nothing but smoothie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. I'm doing that pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, There's certain things you can snack on.
Yeah.
But I try not to unless it's like, because the one thing I miss, I've done it like 5 times,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not hard for me to do it. But this time was really hard because it had been so long.
Right.
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 But
Right.
the one thing you miss is like hot food.
Oh yeah.
I don't really miss like eating or whatever. I just
Mm-hmm.
miss like a hot food.
Right.
Like whatever it is, like
Right. Because I
like,
don't miss eating, but I miss hot
yeah.
food. Just the existence of hot food.
Yes. I know that sounds crazy. But yeah, you miss hot food, like, because you're
Yeah.
drinking a cold smoothie all day.
Right. 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 Right.
And you kind of get in the rhythm of, well, I gotta have a hot meal at some point.
Yeah.
Um and it never happens. So I'm kind of missing that. I'm missing that for sure. So I've been you can snack on like hard boiled eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll eat those like in the morning. I'll eat like 2 of those.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's pretty much my every morning meal.
yeah, I mean, I would, same here. So I try to, if I get to that point where it's bad, then I'll just eat those.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but other than that, it's fine. Like, not really. I'm not
Right.
really tripping on not eating. I wish my food was
So much hot
hot.
food. Yeah, you are delirious. All he can say is hot food. He's just like, yeah, man, yeah, so hot food. Yeah, but anyway, LeBron, hot food.
It's true, man.
uh,
You don't know, like you never done one, huh?
no.
I think it's worth a
Recently,
try.
I've been chilling on breads, like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bread, because I grew up in a house where we ate a lot of sandwiches and stuff. So and I like bread, like
Yeah,
it
that
like
is true.
bloats you,
Mm-hmm.
and every day eating bread. It's like an American diet. Like everything you figure you wouldn't want to eat, it has bread. If you think about all the food selections, like it's
Yeah,
made with bread.
yeah. Bread
So
and glucose,
yeah. So
sugar.
I've been eating like a lot of rice bowls and stuff, salad, and I basically try to do bread like
I
once
mean, that's
once a
kind of
week.
this, a rice
You
bowl is
know.
like the same, bro. It's still
Yeah, I know it's still a
carbs.
term, but it's different. It's different for my body. So
It's different.
in the way
You
my
got a
body
special body.
responds. Because my metabolism is pretty fast anyway, so it'll eat
Oh
that up.
man,
But
I think you should try one.
I ain't trying one. I'm already losing
Nah,
too much weight. I'm just not
it ain't.
eating
It
bread.
ain't even. It wouldn't for you. It wouldn't even be like that. Like you probably lose like 5 pounds. But the point
Nah,
is, I think you should try it just to just to see what it does. Not from like a lose weight thing. Like just
right.
to
I hear
see
you.
what it does.
Right.
Because a lot of it is probably stuff you do anyway. Like, do you like almonds and stuff?
Yeah.
You can eat almonds.
Yeah.
So it's not
Yeah.
like, it's not out of the ordinary. It's like I think your first time doing it, it'll be difficult because you're gonna want everything that you've ever had.
Hot
Like you're
food.
gonna,
Just want hot
yeah.
food.
Every time you go outside and like you drive by In and Out or something, you're gonna want a burger.
Right. Right. I get
Um,
that.
but it's not hard to get through it's not hard to get through the 10 days.
Yeah.
But but when you get through them, you'll definitely be like, all right, let me warm
Mm-hmm.
something up.
Right. Right.
You know. Um.
Yeah.
So
I've
yeah,
been yeah, I might try a few days maybe.
I mean, you don't have to do the full 10. You could do like 5,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Or I just think it's good to do. Like
Yeah.
I think it's good to do to see how it affects you, and then once you do it and you see how, it might not work for you, but you see how the impact it has on your body or the effect it has, I think that's when it's like, okay, this was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
You know, I think some people kind of do it as like a weight loss thing,
Mm-hmm.
and but you're not guaranteed to lose weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's more so just because we was man, it was so much food, you know, and so I was like, I got to get all this out of my body. Like,
Yeah.
and Biz Marquis just died. Rest in peace, Biz
Yeah.
Marquis.
Mm-hmm.
And he was only 57.
And what do you have? Diabetes?
I don't know. He had one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um,
Yeah, that's
just
way
seeing
too
stuff like
young.
that, man. Like seeing that, seeing um, who was the other one? Like John Singleton died at like 50 something
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
high blood pressure. Dr. Dre had a brain aneurysm but he didn't even know he had high blood pressure, right?
Right. Like
And he's like,
get your blood checked, your
yeah,
blood pressure checked.
he's like, I'm working out all the time, man. I'm exercising. I thought I was healthy, like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I actually seen someone I follow on Instagram who said I don't know her personally, but she's a realtor that I
Mm-hmm.
follow, and she said that she passed out in the shower.
Mm.
Like she had a huge um like cut
Gash.
above,
Yeah.
yeah. And she said she passed out in the shower recently and didn't know what did it. And
Wow.
I'm like, yo, you need to like go do some blood work,
Yeah. Yep.
you
Yep.
know?
That's important.
And because everything we're eating now is like just full of sodium and preservatives and all that.
Yep.
So
It's the
um
salt and sugar and everything. And you gotta
I
you gotta
think
really clean that stuff out. Especially black man. We have a huge situation with colon cancer. Um,
mhm.
and I have a scenario with that. And this is probably gonna be a little personal for our listeners.
First of all, this is a world exclusive. Okay. I have never heard this or nothing about this. So we all hearing this together.
Look, I think this is for men in general. Okay. Now, most men, when we were growing up, we learn how to use the potty, right? When you teach your kids how to use the potty, you teach them how to sit down and pee. That's the first thing, right? It's easier to do it that way, or teach. And then as your kid gets a little older, now a boy, you start to teach them how to pee standing up. And I think that's where we're going wrong, because in Asian countries, I don't know if they pee standing up, but they do a lot of squatting when they go number two. They squat. Like if you go like we went to China, it's basically like you go to the bathroom, there's basically a hole in the ground, and you squat down and use the bathroom. So I think what's going on for men in particularly, we're not having enough chances at sitting down and using the toilet to clear our bowels out. Because like the last 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, I've been doing this, like only sitting down. And I'm telling you, every time, like something would come out. And I think it's really clearing my
Bro,
colon
what?
out. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you that I'm going live with this. This is a real thing. This is a public
What?
service announcement.
Okay.
Men need to sit down more when they're peeing because you have more opportunities to clean out your colon. I'm telling you, it's a real thing.
But I
If you
mean, but
feel like
wouldn't you know that was about to happen though? That's not like a
no,
surprise
of
thing.
course we do know. Well, of course. I'm telling you, you're not going to understand it until you start doing it. You just sit down, use the restroom, and I'm telling you, I've always been a regular person. It's always in the morning, like all right, I'm gonna go ahead and it'll happen. So I've never been somebody who's been stopped up, and I don't eat like red meat. I don't eat red like, you know, if I'm gonna eat red meat, it's grounded meat, and I think that's better for your digestion. It's just easier for your stomach to digest than to break down actual red fibers or meat fibers. But I'm telling you, man, if you listen to this, do a test. 1 week, go ahead and sit down. It's not manly. You know, we quote unquote not manly, but I'm telling you, you're gonna clear yourself out. And you know, it's sanitary too. You ever woke up late at night and have to use the bathroom?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yo, bro, sit down. Like you ain't gotta pee all over the place for your manhood. Like, yo, I'm stand up. Now, when I'm out in life, like now, like you know, I'll go ahead and stand. I ain't gonna sit down on outside toilet. But yeah, so that's my public service announcement. Um, so
and
do
this
your
is
cleanse.
officially the shitty episode now. That's what this is. It's a shitty episode.
If you want more of this, you know, sign up for the Patreon. It's coming out pretty soon. You can have exclusive dietary uh, feedback from your boys.
It's funny though, because that might be a thing. I don't know. That might be a thing down the line. Yeah,
Yeah, so
after that, I think
we went way off. We talked about NBA players being soft all the way to cleansing and cleansings and colons. So we can't name it that.
Health is. It's funny because I want to. Like now you say that, like I want to. But health is
And
well,
for real
right?
though, man, like for real though, like we dying real young out here. It ain't manly to die, you know, in your early 50s, 40s, you know, because you didn't go to the doctor to get your blood work done. You know, you didn't go on your yearly checkups. This is like regular people things, you know. So yeah, we said a lot today. I think that's a good way to wrap it up. Wrap this shit up.
Man, ain't no way. Ain't no way to come behind that. So I'm not even like we shouldn't even have to name this episode. Just put like an emoji of a toilet or something. Like,
oh shoot. Hey, for real, man. Hey, y'all laughing, but I'm still be alive around here. Y'all gonna be dead as a door now talking about, yeah, he was tripping.
That's like them interviews, like when they interview the guys who are like 107 and they're like, oh man, what's your secret?
How'd you do it?
It's gonna be you. Like, I just sat down when I went to pee.
You want the secret?
Yeah. Oh man,
that's for real.
I just sat down when I went to pee.
And for real, if you're over 40, go ahead and get checked. You know, you got to get your colon checked. I think it's over. It's really after 50, but you know, we dying so early. I would say 40. I would say 40 at least. You know,
I mean, for that,
ask your doctors. You know,
I mean, in terms of blood work and all that, though, go now.
Yeah, blood work.
Like, go get your blood work done. Go, you know,
blood pressure,
even if, all that. Go, you know, go buy a blood pressure thing so you can check it at the house. Because I don't think people take it serious, and then with all the stuff that we just eat normally, you know, we don't understand how it's having an effect on us.
Yeah, for
and
real.
You know, and I have high blood pressure, so and I didn't know, right? I didn't know until I got there, and it was funny because when I was in Louisiana, you know, we really some old people now. We talking about blood pressure and all that,
right?
But I was in Louisiana
man,
with my uncle.
Somebody.
I was talking to my uncle, and I can't remember how it came up, but somehow it came up. About how, like, going to the doctor, you know, because the women is always telling the men go to the doctor.
Yep, all the time.
So, you know, so it was like a conversation like that, and so we were talking about what happened when I went, because, that's what I was showing him what my actual blood pressure was, because when I got there, so I'm an extremist. For those of y'all who don't know, I get very extreme with things. Everything I do is like very extreme. It's not normal. I don't know why. Life just works that way, right? Like I I broke a bone in my foot a couple years ago, like long time ago. I didn't know I kept playing because I just had a high tolerance for pain at the moment, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know until like 2 or 3 years later that I actually broke a bone. And then so
Right.
I rolled my ankle in Louisiana, like I rolled it, and I think I broke another. I think I had a fracture right now.
Mm.
So, and I could like barely walk, and they were like, "You need to go to the doctor," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm all right." Right.
Yeah.
So,
See.
I'm also legally blind, right?
Mm.
So I can't see without contacts. And when I went, I had surgery, but long story short, it's not corrective. It's more so preventive.
Right.
Um, so going to get my eye surgery, they were like, "You drove here?"
Right.
Or every time I go to the doctor, be like, "You drove here?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, why not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
No, I just had to get here, right? So same thing. I go for my blood pressure appointment. I actually went for my physical, and they took my blood pressure, and it was my uncle was like, "Man, you trying to break the record because
Going.
well, no, just what it measured out to be, because
Right.
anything above on the top number, anything above like 130 is considered like mild
Mm.
hypertension or whatever. And anything above 140 is like where it's like it's a concern.
Right.
And the bottom number I believe should be like 70 or below 80 at least or something.
Mm-hmm.
But on mine's it was like 220 over 100. And
Mm.
if you actually Google a scale, like the chart on like blood pressure,
Yeah. It's like
it doesn't
double.
even go up to 220.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so my uncle was like,
He's
you
trying to
trying
break
to set the
records.
record?
He's trying to go Olympic. You make this an Olympic game.
Oh man, yeah. So I got that under control, but
Yeah.
I say that to say, don't be like me and just think you can power through everything because now that I'm on medication and all that, and you can get off. Like it's not hard to get off. You just have to do certain things.
Right.
But once you get to that point, it's not as easy to just go back to turn back. You have to make it at that point. You have to make an adjustment, or you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
Like I go there and they're like, "Are you
Yeah.
okay? Are you dizzy? Can you breathe? Can you see?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Yeah,
Right.
I'm fine." Does your chest hurt? No. They do you know this is at the point of like basically heart failure?
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
Is that years from like not adhering to like some of the flags that might come up, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm cool. I'm gonna power
I
through
don't
it.
know. I don't
You
know
know,
because you
to where
do
your body
things.
got used to you got used to your body working on a certain level,
Yeah.
to where you don't it don't bother you because you're already operating at that level.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I feel like this all the time.
Yeah. I was like, I feel normal.
Because
And
you had
they're
a new
like,
normal. It's
yeah.
like you raised your baseline basically. Your baseline was above what probably your normal baseline is supposed to be. It's like you got used to it.
Probably.
Yeah. So I'm focusing. I got me a new gym membership, and
Yeah, me too.
I'm just
I'm
really
about
trying
to.
to focus on just. And I don't have any like lofty goals to like be the buffest dude ever seen. It's just I want I want to just maintain a healthy lifestyle, and like I'm more so consistency. I'm going for. Shout out Joe West. He really doing his workout
Yeah,
tip.
man. Shout out to
I'm,
homie Joe
I'm
West,
telling him
man.
like, yo, man, like you inspiring me. Just keep doing what you're doing, you know. Um, because it's all about consistency. The consistency is what I'm after,
He's
And
he's actually the reason why I even went and I'm getting I have it already, but
mm-hmm.
um gym membership
Right, right.
because I'm so accustomed to being able to like like when we used to go to the gym back in the day and like I could walk
Mm-hmm.
to the gym because it was in our neighborhood
Right.
and didn't have to pay for it and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was so accustomed to either doing that or like working out at home. It's like, well, if I can't do that, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
kind of like the idea of leaving your house, especially in the time where we're working from home a lot and taking care of kids, running businesses. I like the idea of having time to get away from the house and go work out, you know? And I'm basically making it part of my day. The plan is to, drop my son off at daycare and then just go get it in after that. Um, I would really like to get up really early, work out, be done with it, and then start the day when everybody's asleep. That's my real plan.
Mm-hmm.
Get up real early, get the workout in, and be done. You know,
Yeah, I was actually
have a shake, workout, come
before
back, eat
the
breakfast.
before the pandemic. That was basically my schedule.
Hmm.
You know, I would be out, like I'd go outside and do what I got to do for like an hour. Like I'd be back in the house by like 6:30, and
Yeah.
then 6:30 you get up, get dressed, do what you got to do. I'm in the
Hmm.
office by 8.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have appointments on the way to the office, so that gives me enough time to knock that out, come home, get ready, and then if I got to stop by an owner or something and have a conversation, blah blah blah, at 8 a.m. I got time to do that still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then the pandemic happened, and then that just kind of ruined everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'll be
Even with
back.
the pandemic, I was like, I really focused on going hiking. I did a lot of hiking at that time, just getting
Yeah, I remember
outside and
that.
doing a lot of walking, and that helped a lot from making sure my dad diet didn't kick in with the second child.
Yeah, it's
So
true. Yeah,
I
it's
even
true.
tell people, just walk, walk outside your house, walk out the door, walk for 10 minutes and walk back. That's 20 minutes of walking. Go outside, walk in one direction 10 minutes and walk back. Like that's the easiest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. I try not to complicate it in my head and make it a whole theatric. It's like do something. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean we talked a lot about a lot of a lot of health and shit.
health
Literally.
and shit. Yeah, that's the title. Health and shit. That's the title right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's everybody be healthy, man, and do what you can to stay checked. You know, I know that's not really like business related content, but ultimately, like,
That's part of it though.
yeah,
Like,
you have to be, like you know what, it is part of it because um, I remember one time, uh, Drew had to go to Texas. Got For those of y'all who don't know, Drew is a guy that I work with.
mm,
Um, he had to go to Texas to handle some deals out there. And Drew, he played at USC. You know what I mean? Like works out in Orange Theory at like 5 a.m. Like
right.
so and so he arrives in Dallas, but his plane was late. And if you ever been to, or was it Houston? I think it was Houston. It was one of them. But either way, the airports are huge.
Hmm.
And he was on the other side of the airport with like 15 minutes to get to his flight, or
Mm,
20 minutes. And so he's like, I ran.
right.
Like I ran the whole way there.
Hmm.
He's like, when I got there, I was sweating. Like everything is, my hair is messed up.
Yeah.
I look a mess. And he was like, I barely missed it.
Wow.
And I was like, if that was me, running would have never even been an option. Like
It was like,
it'd have
yo,
been
when's the
like,
next
oh,
flight?
what? Well, how far is it? Can we get a rental car? All right, cool. Let's drive. Like,
Right.
running is not an option. So for me,
Hmm.
it's like that is part of. I use that to be funny, but it's the
Yeah.
truth. Like, man, you got to be. Especially
And
now, you don't really realize
if
that
you're not
stuff until
healthy,
you
you
get
can't
older.
you can't even like perform your job. You literally can't perform your job.
Mm-hmm.
If you're getting sick all the days and you having sick days and days out, and you're just not performing at the best level you could, if you had a good night's sleep and worked out and ate good, um, you're hurting your business and hurting yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even working out, I have more energy to hang out or play with the kids or something. Um, it all like goes together. I've always kept
Mm-hmm.
in the last maybe few years like health number one above everything because everything falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't run around trying to do deals and you know I can't breathe.
No, that's true. That's true, man. That all that is true. It all kind of comes. You just don't realize it until you get older.
Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean? You don't
sure.
realize it until you get to a certain point. But it's true, man. All that kind of goes hand in
Hmm.
hand. You know what I mean? So, um,
Yeah, so we can go ahead and wrap up. Uh, talk about a few things tonight.
yeah.
This is
So,
good though.
yeah.
This is good.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for joining us again for our
Yeah.
16th episode of the Rich by Monday podcast. If you take anything away from this episode, you know, make sure you sit down when you pee. That's the message here. Um,
That's the only message we want to get across tonight.
and when you live to 107, you can thank us or
Right.
thank Dorance because
Hey,
I don't know.
hey, somebody got to lead
Um,
the way. Hey, leaders lead from the front.
so once again, thank y'all for hanging out with us. Tuning in with us. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notifications and all that. Um, Make sure you like the video once again, so that way we can get the algorithm on our side. If there's anything you want to add to the conversation, or if anything spoke to you in during this podcast, go ahead and drop a comment below. Let's continue the conversation. We'll have a Patreon coming soon. We'll disclose all the details then. Any last words, Dorance?
Nope. Thanks for coming and see you next week.
See y'all next week. I'm about to go heat up the rest of my smoothie and pretend it's hot food.
Right. I'm gonna
Good
eat dinner
night.
too.